اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to a new episode of the SimplyRYQ Q&A, brought to you by TVQ.Academy, your borderless school of the Qur'an. So how I do, my good friends, my companions in the journey of mastering the Qur'an. Today we are coming back to you with a new Q&A, and this is Q&A, a new Q&A, and today we are having session number 18. Today's Q&A will be session number 18, and we have one single item which reads, how do I gradually increase my daily dose of the Quran reading? How do I gradually increase my daily dose of the Quran reading? This question comes from the very recent video of the SimplyRYQ exclusives on how to read the Quran, possibly in the shortest possible time, depending on who one is. And in that episode of the SimplyRYQ exclusives, which came with a few chapters, chapter number 7 in that particular video is how to do it, how to read the Quran in a way that you can complete the Quran in shortest possible time by the next Ramadan, inshallah. Regardless of the year in which you are watching this video, by the next Ramadan, if you haven't before read the Quran in a shortest possible time, let's say in 1 week, in 10 days, in 3 days, in 1 day actually. So this is what that video is about. If you have not seen that video yet, it is not too late. Please check out that video in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube, or maybe I will link it somewhere here. If you are watching it on Facebook, please check TVQ.Academy's page for that video. Now, in the how-to, we highlighted a few steps that we believe are helpful in achieving reading the Quran in shortest possible time. Of course, it takes training to achieve that. So gradually increase your daily dose. In that particular video, I did mention that if you have 5 minutes a day in reading the Quran, it is time to make it 6 minutes. If you do it 6 minutes a day, it is time to do it 10 minutes. If you do it 10 minutes a day, it is time to do it 20 minutes, and so on. Especially if someone wants to complete the Quran in a certain given time. 5 minutes will not do the work. Maybe one will take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to achieve it. And that's not what we want to achieve. We want to achieve reading the Quran at least once a month. This will be the one who, the least person among us. Once a month, once in 20 days, once in twice a month, once in 10 days, once a week, once every 3 days, and so on. This is what we want to achieve. In order to do that, wherever you are today, whatever your reading habit of the Quran is, you will want to increase your daily dose. All right, you will have to increase your daily dose. Please do watch that video so that what we are sharing here will make more sense. Now, how do I gradually increase my daily dose of the Quran reading? It is very important that we become aware of the difference between reading the Quran based on number of pages a day and reading the Quran based on dedicated amount of time. So either way has pros and cons, has benefits. Okay, but here I will want to emphasize more on reading the Quran based on dedicated amount of time. This is very important. Before that, let's also agree that if one reads the Quran properly, the Quran will be smoother on his tongue. So what you used to read in an hour, you will be able to do it in 50 minutes. What you used to do in 50 minutes, by the day, you will realize that you're able to do it in 45 minutes and so on. An example is if you have watched the closing episode of the SimplyRYQ Surah to Al-Baqarah, I shared with the good people there the example of the experience of one of our brothers who has read Surah Al-Baqarah for the first time in his life after following the program. The program took 6 months. After 6 months, he has read the Surah Al-Baqarah in its entirety in one sitting for the first time in his life, and we are talking about someone who is about 50 years old. Now, how long did it take him? It took him 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours is a long time, no doubt. But 6 months prior to that, he would never be able to read Surah Al-Baqarah in a day, let alone in 2.5 hours. So with practice, after 6 months, he's able to read Surah Al-Baqarah in 2.5 hours. Now, 2.5 hours, the average time anyone who is able to read the Quran, the average time he will spend on reading Surah Al-Baqarah is an hour. This story is 2 months ago. I believe this brother, if he has been reading Surah Al-Baqarah since then, 2 months ago until now, the 2.5 hours must have shrunk from 2.5 hours to, if not less than 2 hours, then 2 hours. And if he continues to read Surah Al-Baqarah, in no time he will realize that he is able to read Surah Al-Baqarah in an hour. So if he's able to read Surah Al-Baqarah in an hour, imagine if he is to dedicate 2.5 hours every day to read the Quran, then how much will he read? 2.5 hours is fixed consistency. However, it is no longer Surah Al-Baqarah. It will be Surah Al-Baqarah 2 times or 3 times. Which means let's say you dedicate 30 minutes to read the Quran every day. And in last video, we did mention, the video that inspired this question, we did mention that reading the Quran must be our most important daily task after the 5 times daily prayers. If one wants to be a companion of the Quran, and this is why we are doing this, we want to be companions, genuine companions, active companions of the Quran in dunya and akhirah. So in order to achieve that, reading the Quran must be a permanent daily task for the Muslim. Now, in order to do that, you must have a dedicated amount of time for that. For some, it may be 5 minutes. For some, it may be 15 minutes. For some, it may be 20 minutes. So now let's assume that you have 30 minutes, half an hour, for the Quran every day. These 30 minutes, if you, at the start, if you spend it in 20 pages, in 2 months from now, inshallah, because you are stick to 30 minutes, you will realize that you no longer read 20 pages in the 30 minutes. In fact, you read more than 20 pages in 30 minutes. And by another 2 months or so, instead of reading 30 pages in 30 minutes, you will find yourself reading 40 pages in 30 minutes. And 40 pages in 30 minutes means you will be reading Surah Al-Baqarah in 1 hour. And that's the average time for Surah Al-Baqarah. That's the average time for the average Muslim. And that means Surah Al-Baqarah in 1 hour, 1 hour every day will mean you will be able to read the Qur'an in 12 days. 12 days, 1 hour a day. Because the Qur'an will be smoother on your tongue. That's one. Number two, your speed of reading will increase. You will be able to manage it. And you are tied to time. You are not tied to number of pages. The one who will dedicate his consistency of reading the Quran to number of pages, 20 pages, let's say, that is one juz. That will mean he will be reading the Quran one time every month, every 30 days. So 20 pages. 20 pages, today he will spend 30 minutes, for example. That 30 minutes will shrink tomorrow to 29 minutes. And it still remain 20 pages. That 20 pages, that 29 minutes today, tomorrow will shrink to 28 or 25 minutes. In a week time, he will be doing 20 pages in what? In 20 minutes, or even in 18 minutes, or even in 50 minutes. So yes, he's doing 20 pages a day, but he's spending lesser time. And what we want is to spend more time with the Quran and not less time. Of course, if he realizes that he's now doing 20 pages in 15 minutes, and therefore he decides to do 40 pages in 40 pages will mean 30 minutes, that's what we want. To be able to shift from once a month into twice a month. That's what we want. But the safest way of doing it is to stick to time frame rather than number of pages. Number of pages, you will find yourself complacent going with only 20 pages, and you are good to go, and you have more time which may go wasted. We talk about zombie scrolling. We want to stay away from that. We talk about finding ourselves lonely, empty. We want to be busy with the Quran, inshallah ta'ala. So at the end of the day, I hope this answers this question, that how do I gradually increase my daily dose of the Quran? Make sure that you base your consistency on a fixed time rather than you base it on a number of pages or amount of what you read. Fixed time, nothing, no activities, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. You will find yourself that your 20 pages, which you spend in 30 minutes, will increase from 20 to 30, from 30 to 40, and a time will come that you'll find that your heart is asking for more. Your soul is asking for more. More means the 30 minutes which you spend on, and you are already able to read 40 pages instead of 20, your soul will be asking that you spend more time. So you'll find yourself increasing that 30 minutes into 40 minutes or 45 minutes or even an hour. So an hour here is no longer like 40 pages. It is 80 pages. And it's doable. It is doable. Inshallah. So with that, we have come to the end of this Q&A, SimplyRYQ, and I hope the question is answered. How do I gradually increase my daily dose of the Quran? Like I said, if you haven't seen that video, please check the link out in the description below, or go to TVQ.Academy channel on YouTube or on Facebook and scroll and search for the playlist of SimplyRYQ exclusives. Until the next, I leave you in Allah's protection. See you in Jannah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم